Hey there, we're getting ready to start turn 2. We've actually made it further than ever before. Okay, so one thing I forgot to clean up from turn 1 is the Persians had 1 diplomacy card left over. They got $1 for that. The Byzantines got $1 and the Romans got $2. So I took care of that off camera. I'm looking at the timetable here for turn 2. There's what I believe to be another mistake in the rules. It says that there's 4 raids, but there's only 3 listed. So I don't think there is an actual 4th raid. And then of course there's a whole bunch of stuff for the reinforcements phase when we get to that. So let's start. We don't skip any sections this time for a change. So we're gonna start with the status of the nations. All barbarian nations age, and then if they go to 3 or more, they may transition to a kingdom, or at 5 or more, they have to do a die roll check to transition to a kingdom. So let's do that. Every barbarian nation is going to age. So these are all moving to 3. They're all eligible to become a kingdom. And then the Alani are aging to 2. They are not eligible. Okay, so the only one that really wants to be a kingdom would be the Frankie. Everything else I don't think would benefit from being a kingdom. The other thing is with reinforcements, the reinforcements are, trying to read and talk at the same time. So if the reinforcements are on the timetable, I think if you become a kingdom, I'm pretty sure you still get the reinforcements as a kingdom, even though it's telling you you're getting them as a barbarian. So right now the Frankie have territory that they want, and they are in the area that they want to be. It is the Roman player, and so the Roman player could give up that territory. They lose 10 points if they do, but they're allowing the Frankie to have it, which is still points for them. Now, we could try to do some kind of federati situation, like we said before. This is a really interesting decision. Not an easy one to make, to be quite honest. I'm just grabbing the Frankie card here off camera to look at them. So they do get 2 units as reinforcements. They are currently in the 2 provinces that will score them points at the end of turn 3. If they convert to Catholic, they get 1 victory point for the income of every non-heretical Catholic province that they control, which is only 2. But if the Romans actually gave them the area, they would actually control the entire area of Gallia Septentrionalis, and then they would actually get, if they converted to Catholic then they would get all kinds of money. And actually the Romans get money from it too, because the Romans get half. Anytime a barbarian converts to Christianity, since they are the seat of the Pope, they get half. Strategy-wise, I don't know what is the right timing to do this. And I think this is one of those things where, you know, okay, this is your first game that you've ever made it this far. So do we do it just to try it out, and then later on we're going to regret it? That's the question that's going through my mind. Well, let's look at, okay, so let's say turn 6. They need to have, they just need to have all of Gallia Septentrionalis by turn 6. They would get 10 victory points if they did that. Now, the Romans, of course, if they give it up to them, they lose 10 victory points for anything that was abandoned, and that starts on turn 2, so which is this turn. So if they were to give it up, they would lose 10 points. They actually gain 10 points if they control all the provinces, which right now they don't. The Frankie actually have 2 of them. So they're not even getting the 10 points from that anyways. But yes, they do lose 10 points. They're going to lose it again in turn 3, and then again in turn 4. So they would have lost 30 points by turn 4, and then I think they're going to lose 20 for abandoning, because that's one of their options, is they can abandon. So I'm just grabbing their player aid here. Rome may decide to abandon certain areas from turn 3 onwards. So they can't do it this turn anyways. So that helps us. So for Britannia, the Britain Kingdom would be created, and that wouldn't be until turn 3 at minimum. Romans receive an immediate tribute of 1/2 per province they controlled, $1/2. And then they also get half of the victory points of the abandoned area, except when the abandonment triggers the creation of a client kingdom. So you actually get victory points for abandoning, not lose, but then you'll lose points at the end of the turn. Okay, so now it just becomes a question of, do the Frankie want to become a kingdom? And if they do become a kingdom, they're going to age, of course, and then over time they're going to become declining, possibly, too late in the game. But they would be an age 1 kingdom. They wouldn't become even remotely in decline until turn 10 of the game. I think membership has its privileges. If you're a kingdom, you do get some nice bonuses. Now the Frankie can, they can do raids as long as they stay as a barbarian. They get an invasion on turn 6. So we would have to last all the way to turn 6 before they actually got an invasion as a barbarian kingdom. Not sure if that's worth waiting until. They do get 2 more units, which, like we said, is nice. And it would be the Horde actually becomes the capital, I believe. Let me check. I'm going to pull out the rules, and let's see what would happen if they decide to become a kingdom. First, it says age 1 on the civilized track. They would not execute steps B and C of this phase, so they wouldn't age. They would go to age 1 and just stay there. They also wouldn't. Well, C is just the empire's aging, so that's fine. They get an immediate bonus of $20 to their treasury. An empty city site in a controlled province gets a level 1 city. If there is no empty city site, a level 1 city becomes a level 2, and so forth. If all of them are level 3, too bad. Then flip the Horde to a capital and assign permanently to any existing controlled province. So you get to move the Horde to wherever you'd like. That's going to be your new capital. If there is no city, keep the Horde until a city site is founded. Religion, remain pagan or become Arian or Catholic. So you can choose to become Arian or Catholic later. You don't have to choose right now. At least I believe that's the case. Religion is in this player aid here. It's buried somewhere. Oh, where would it be? I know it's here. Of course, I can't find it anywhere, but I know it's here. Here we go. They actually don't say. So I know I got to go into the rule book then. It is section 31. That much I remember. It's like the very end of the rule book. Conversion to Catholicism. A non-Catholic barbarian nation can decide to convert to Catholicism at the start of its administration phase before administration cards are resolved. Oh, So if you become a kingdom, that's your chance to convert or you don't convert. It has to be a barbarian nation, not a kingdom. Interesting. So we may benefit from being a barbarian for one more turn. Take a few more territories and then do the conversion. It'll get more points for red. It'll get more points for the Frankie, which is red. It'll actually get more money for the Frankie in red. So that's the only one I would strongly consider converting to a kingdom. Everybody else is not where they're supposed to be. So that's, I guess the Alemanni could consider it, but right now they would be becoming a kingdom in the barbarian territory and not in the area that they want to eventually become. So yeah, we're going to stay barbarian for one more turn. Sorry for the long deliberation, but that's actually one of the key strategy points of this game, I think. I'm definitely interested in any thoughts that you guys might have on that, but I think we're going to leave it be. And, you know, as the Roman player, I do want them to take, because I could abandon, starting on turn 3, I can abandon the area and then give it to the Frankie, let the Frankie become a kingdom, and then boom, they're getting all the bonuses for becoming a kingdom and controlling the entire area themselves. I actually think that that's a really good combo platter, so we're going to stay barbarian for one more turn. Okay, so everybody aged. They had a chance to decide to become a kingdom. Everybody said no. So then we're going to go to the kingdom's age. And so first, if it's your second turn as a kingdom, you get $10. That's not the case for any of these. So the Persians will age to 5. And then they make a die roll check to transition to empire. If any of these are true, if they are increasing in decline, if they control 3 or more areas, they don't control 3 or more areas. They do have some control into the Orient area. They have Persis, Mesopotamia, and some of Orient, but not all. They actually have 2 provinces of Orient out of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So not quite there, but they're close. Actually, you could argue that they have full control, but the empire has control of those cities of Byzantine, and those cities haven't fallen. So Syria, the whatever ones in Palestine, and then Phoenicia, those cities are still under Roman control. You can't go in and just take a couple territories and everything else just flips. It doesn't work that way. Okay. Now, where is that line between flipping and not flipping? That's an interesting question. That's not fully answered. Okay. So I don't think the Persian player is checking to transition to an empire. Can they become an empire at age 5? No. I'm checking. Remember, the Persians becoming an empire is a special event on the... when checking the transition to empire, Persia applies 1 extra D10 modifier. They get +1 per client stake. And then whenever it does transition to empire, it's going to be age 3 instead of 1. So it's not going to get the benefit of being just 1 year old like the other ones. So I think we're going to stay kingdom one more time with them as well. But then we have to age the empires now. And this one is pretty nasty for the Romans. So the Byzantine will go to 4, the Romans are going to 10. And so the heresies will age. So this heresy flips. And so does the one in Britain, which I'm going to reach off camera here. All right, I think we were supposed to check for things that are not in this player aid. So I think that player aid's failing me a little bit there. I'm grabbing the other one now, because I think it's a little bit more handy. So each civilized nation ages 1. A kingdom may transition to empire once it controls 3 areas. So you have to control areas for a kingdom to transition. If a civilized nation attempts to age past 12, its decline goes up instead. If a nation rejuvenates while in decline, it remains unchanged and instead decreases its level of decline. If a decline is increased and a marker is already doubled, a kingdom will check for transition to empire, and an empire applies the expense to the treasury and may trigger bankruptcy. So die roll for a forced transition to empire. So you roll a d10 with the following modifiers. If the leader, for a leader with a combat bonus greater than 2, +1 if in decline, So I may need to check, because it doesn't say how old you have to be to do a forced check. So all we're trying to see is, are the Persians required to check for a forced transition to empire? That's all we're trying to do. The player aids both sort of failed to address this. And it is aging, so it shouldn't be a... Yeah, right here it says, a kingdom may become an empire once it reaches a certain size. Its age is irrelevant. You have to control at least 3 areas. You do not get to round up, because barbarian areas count as 1/2. And of course you don't do the check once a kingdom is created. So I'm just checking the aging step. An eligible kingdom is checked for transition to empire every time its age marker advances. But if it somehow advances more than once, it's only checked once. So basically it's saying you're not eligible unless you have 3 territories. And there is a possibility you'll get checked if you age to 12 and then have to age again. Okay, so Persia stays where it's at. And oh, now we got the Romans. So there's another issue. Because the Romans are in decline, I think something happens to them. And maybe nothing does. Because nothing happened on turn 1 either, although we didn't age on turn 1. So yeah, it just says that if you try to, if your decline marker gets advanced and you're already maxed out, then you have to pay. Currently, they're on the minus side of the decline. They can decline one more time to go to the plus side. So the civilized track has 3 sections: young, mature, and old. Young is 1 to 4, mature is 5 to 8, and old is 9 through 12. Makes sense? Okay. So now we got to do, so the player aids have this thing called the kingdom administration. But that doesn't happen until the beginning of the administration phase, so we won't worry about that. Okay, so we did our age. Heresy's aged. And now we do reinforcements. So in nation activation order, we do reinforcements, but the problem is the turntable has extra nations being entered into the game. So this is really hard to determine what the nations are for reinforcements. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the turntable, and then in nation order, if anybody's not covered, we'll cover it that way. Yeah, it says right here, place new nations based on timetable. And then of course, if there's a displacement, we have to deal with that. Named leaders that were there on the previous turn are removed unless the timetable calls for another turn. Intrinsic leaders are redeployed freely. Barbarian units get their reinforcements through the timetable. If there's none listed, they get 1 unit as default. And kingdoms and empires rarely receive reinforcements. They purchase theirs during the administrative phase. And inactive kingdoms rebuild or restore 1 unit. Okay, so that's the situation. Eliminated federates and vassal mercenaries are replaced. And then, of course, there is a possibility for disappearing nations. Okay, so haven't really done this section of the rules before. That's why I'm going a little bit slow, so my apologies. The raids don't happen yet. We got to do this. So the Huns are coming in. That's the first thing that happens. And remember, the Huns have a bazillion rules. There's 100 things that are in this player aid for the Huns. So we're going to have to, let's just do it now. On turn 2, the Hunters enter play with an invasion. It's a very powerful nomadic nation from the Central Asian steppes. Their invasion is interrupted by other nations' activations as follows. After the Huns play their first invasion unit stack step, their turn is halted. Then every Germanic barbarian nation activates in normal order. Then once the Germanic barbarians are done, the Huns resume play with their second invasion and their leader Balamir's campaign. The remaining nations activate normally afterwards, the Alans followed by the Persians, the Romans, and the Byzantines. The Germania area cannot be entered by the Huns before turn 3, and therefore is a safe haven for all other barbaric nations this turn. So they can't go into Germania. The Alans are reticent vassals. They may roll. Okay, never mind. The Huns cannot found a kingdom. While Attila lies dying at the end of the turn 5, they may found an empire or collapse at once. There is possible glory if they control 3 or more areas. Okay, so let's just do a sanity check. Germania, of course, is this region here, and it's broken out by this, this river. There's a little line here that cuts over. So this Bohemia is not part of Germania. And so basically what it's saying is the Huns can't go here. This can be a safe zone for the Ostrogoths and the Visigoths, possibly, but that's it. Okay, so let's do reinforcements. First of all, the Slavic tribes. These are the Esti. They get 1, and the Skalivi get 1. The Armeni are going to get 1, the Armenians. I think we covered the neutral client kingdoms. So let's do the Huns. Oh my goodness, I think I may have to pause the video here. Here we go. So I have the Huns, but they're all in a tray like that, and that's it. And then the Suebies is a kingdom I have, but I don't have so I'll just do that. Basically what I'm trying to say is there's a lot of kingdoms here that I haven't bothered separating out. And that's unfortunate. Okay, so these are the Huns. Here's the Hun card. So you can see they're coming in from, let me get this. So according to the arrow, they're going to come in way up from the Russian steppes, and then they're going to come through that way. So they do have like this big thing here, and of course they have a lot of invasions. And so let's see what we can figure out for them. I do have one large tray for the green player, because I try to use the major nations to get this in place. So the first thing they're looking for is Sarasis, which is a leader. So I probably should have sorted all this out before we started, but it is a good exercise. And yes, this is the stuff that you have to do. So there's Attila right there. And then these are just regular infantry, so I'm going to stack those. There's a heavy. This, of course, is their age, so I'm going to set that aside. Horse archer. These two are not the same. We have a Rex. We have a raid marker. That is not the same. Olden. Not the same. Holy buckets. A lot going on here. And I'm not finding the thing I'm looking for. Out of all the stuff, I mean, we're pulling all kinds of stuff up here, but we're looking for Sarasis. And, of course, my fat fingers are causing some stacks to fall. Okay, there we go. We got the horde. So I'm going to set that aside. We have the income. And another one of those. Archer. Okay, so I'm a little disturbed at the moment. It said Saraces, S-I-R-A-C-E-S, and I didn't find it at all. So it could be the back of one of these. So that's Ernak and Balamir, Attila and Iliak. This is Olden and Attila the Second. And then this is just Rex and Rex. Sometimes they'll say something along the side, but this one does not. So oh crap. Syracuse is the name of the territory that they show up in. Oh, I'm such a goober. Okay, so at least you help sort all this out. So let's figure out where Syracuse is. And right there it is. Oh my gosh, I'm such a moron. So that's where they're coming. Okay, so I'm going to put this here. All right, so there, they get the horde, which we got covered. They get 7 cavalries and 1 infantry. It doesn't say which cavalries are which infantry. So I'm going to put the, well, the elite ones don't matter because they're not elite yet. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So here's 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 7 cavalry. 1 infantry. I might as well put the heavy infantry in, right? Because barbarians don't get to count elite units. Balamir. We know him. So here's the leader, Balamir. And of course they get an invasion. They cannot enter Germania this turn. And the Germanic barbarians activate between the 2 invasion unit stack steps. All right, so they got to migrate first before they're even in the realm of attacking anybody. But that's really cool. This is the part of the game I really like. Is, you know, it's a little small worldish, but I really like the idea of them arriving. Okay, so when they arrive, what age are they? I'm going to assume they're age 1. So I'm going to put them on 1 on the barbarian track. And then as far as their money goes, they are sitting at 0. So I'll put them at 0. And I think we're good to go there. So yes, the barbarian hordes have arrived for the Huns. Okay, next up is the Alemanni get 2 units. And the barbarians, when it comes to getting 2 units, it's random. You don't get to choose. And I think that would have been true for even the Huns. So when it said 7 infantry or 7, I was really supposed to roll for that. So my apologies there. I guess we should correct that. I think we would have to put stuff in a cup and then just draw one. Oh, well here, I'm gonna just assume that we drew the crappy infantry because there's a whole bunch of those. And then as far as the horses go, it doesn't matter, they're all the same. I mean, some of them aren't archers, but there's only 2 non-horse archers we didn't pick. And there's even more horse archers we did pick, and then of course the elite units aren't elite yet. Okay, so Alemanni get 2 units, and this is the same deal. So you have Rex. Let me just turn the camera here. So you have this situation here with the, so the Rex is a leader. We don't count the leaders. And of course that's just these are all the units that are available. And their leader, unless it says otherwise, is dead. So their big leader from the last invasion is gone. And there is another one that's potentially coming. The timetable does say a Rex is coming, so it doesn't matter which side you use. They both say the same thing. So they do get a Rex for a leader, which is just a generic leader. And yeah, we got to figure out how we're going to do this. So I have a whole bunch of these. I probably do need to make a cup and start doing this proper. So they're going to get 2 units, so I'm just going to throw everything in a cup and see which 2 they get. All right, so I grabbed 1, I'm going to grab 2, and I got both the same exact unit. That's funny. All right, so the barbarian reinforcements always show up where the horde is, nowhere else. And we could do the same thing with the Huns. I don't know if I necessarily need to at the moment, but we will do this from here on out. So yes, the 2 heavy infantry plus the Rex are going to show up here on the horde marker. That's it for the Alemanni. The Frankie get 2 units. And you can see here they have a whole bunch. And they also have a boat. I don't know if the boat counts as one of those 2 units or not. And then some of these say like T6 on them. But if I draw one of them, I'm gonna assume they can't, the boats don't count. So they get 2 and a Rex. So I'm gonna grab, that's a leader and that's a leader. Those 2 don't count. Let's grab 2 more. That's an Axeman, that's turn 6. And so they got basically 2 Axemen. And see that little symbol there with the axe on it? Those are they participate in the archer phase for the Frankie. So if you've ever watched the One Bite series on pizza, there's this guy, he does One Bite videos where he says everybody knows the rules, you know, and he's always looking for the perfect New York style pizza. And the guy who does the recording, or the guy behind the camera, his name's Frankie. And so he always says, "What you think, Frankie?" So anytime I say Frankie, I think of that video. But okay, so it's these 2 plus a Rex. Now their leader the last time was also a Rex, so that's no big deal. And if we come over here, they of course are going to show up where the horde is, and then the Rex will show up where the horde is as well, because they all go back to where the horde is. So that's the case for the Frankie. Next, the Ostrogoths get 2 units and a Rex. So the Ostrogoths are going to lose this leader. He's out. And they get 2 units. And so here's the Rex unit. So I'm going to go ahead and just add that to the area. And they get 2 units, and it's a similar deal. We got to grab the cup. There's a whole bunch of units over here. I'm grabbing things that are named leaders and boats, but if we ever draw them, we're just going to draw again. It's just easier to grab a whole stack of tokens than trying to sort them out. Oh, there's one more. Just making sure I got them all. All right, so they get 2, and we already grabbed the Rex. And the 2 I grabbed are this and this. Well done. And we'll just pour everything out. So they got basically 2 basic infantry. Go ahead and pile those on there. And what's next? Oh, the Rex goes on top. The Visigoths get 6 units, and they have an invasion, and they get Fritigernus. So this is the Visigoths here. They get Fritigernus, the leader. You always have to check. The leaders have names on 2 different sides. Like this is Theodoricus and Recoritus. I don't know where. There we go, Fritigernus. And see, he has a T2 written on top of him. That's pretty cool. So you can see when the leader is going to come out. So that's going to come out. Everything else goes in a cup. And we dropped a few. 6 units. Holy buckets. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, at least half of your units have to be infantry if you're going to be pulling units. And that's not a problem here. If infantry is available, of course. All right, so the Visigoths, I'm pouring out the rest. They're going to get a crap ton of units along with this particular leader, and they get an invasion. So they are not ready. They're not going to mess around this turn. The Romans, are definitely going to get put to the test here. The Rex goes away, so there's their Doom stack. And they're not quite in Germania, but they're close. All right. The Burgundians are coming out. So it's a coming out party for them. So let's find, it looks like that's another blue player. So here's the Burgundians. It's a blue team item. And they also want to go into France. Burgundy, of course, being a big thing there. So their starting location is Pomerania. They get their horde and 4 infantries and a Rex. It might be a while. Look at this nonsense. I have to sort all this. The good news is Burgundy is purple, so they are easy to spot. But they are coming out. Here's the horde. This is the Rex. There's a leader. Four infantry. 1, 2. Oh crap, they do have a heavy one, so we're gonna have to pull from a cup. Leader, there's the age, and there's the money. Okay, I think that's everything for them, which is fine. Okay, so I'm going to make a cup. Just going to put them all in, and then we'll just draw until we get 4 infantry. I mean, you could calculate how many you have of each and just do some kind of die roll. That works as well. Here's 1, 2, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Everything else doesn't matter. All right. All right, gotta get my player aids out of the way. We're starting to get a little tight on space here. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm gonna go ahead and move this card off to the side. All right, so Burgundy's coming in as a barbarian tribe on turn 1 on the barbarian track, and then the Rex plus this. The money, of course, is just going to go here sitting on 0. And we got to find Pomerania. That should be up near the top. And it is. Okay, so they start out here with their horde there. So that is not safely in Germania, I don't think. Nope. So very interesting. I can understand how the Ostrogoths are at risk, though, because if the Huns go first, the Ostrogoths are going to be in their path coming to the west here. So they are at risk. They can retreat, though. So that part's good. Okay. Next, the Vandals come out. So we got all kinds of new stuff coming. So the Vandals are controlled by, let's figure this out. They are the yellow player. All right, so this is the Vandals. And you can see they're coming out in the Russian area, and they need to go all the way to Africa. Holy buckets. I'm really surprised. Historically, are all the people in Spain and Africa really just Russians from ancient times? That's actually a really surprising revelation for me. But anyways, they start in Teutonia. So let's see if we can find that. It's Taricia, Lexizia, Iberia, Azyria. I don't see Teutonia anywhere. I mean, Teutonia is here. Yeah. Okay, that's not Russia. I don't know why maybe that's historically how they migrated? But okay, they're starting in Teutonia, which is an interesting thing. And I do not have these guys sorted out. So the Vandals are these. And I'm just going to throw them in a cup because we need to get 4 infantries. There's not much to say at the moment. I'm just sorting out these pieces for these new nations that were created, and we can get going. This is actually a little fun doing this. It's very time consuming, but I'm sort of having some fun seeing these new nations arrive and where they're located. And as you can tell, I haven't spent any time researching this or looking it up yet. So the fact that, you know, I'm finding these locations on the fly right while I'm on camera is legit. Okay, so it says that the Vandals are going to arrive in Teutonia with their horde and 4 infantry and a Rex. So there's 1 infantry, nope. That's a leader. Now see, this is not, they can't have elite units, so technically it's just an infantry for now. But I'm going to set that off to the side. There's the Rex. And there's 1, 2, 3 infantry. This one, technically they can't have. So that would be a 4th, but I'm going to set it off to the side because I think there's 4 regular infantry I can grab. Yeah, right here. So I'm going to just grab regular infantry. I'm not going to grab anything, and there's the horde marker. So we've grabbed everything there is to grab here. And the Vandals, we're going to just set off. I set the yellow player off to the left side of the board. So we're going to do that. All right. So Teutonia is here. And the Rex plus 4 infantry are with them. And these guys are trying to get all the way to Africa, which is an interesting dilemma. And they're going to show up turn 1 on the barbarian track with 0 bucks, just like everybody else. Okay, we are not done. The Swabi are coming now. This is the green player, and they are showing up in Prussia. And they need to go to, they're basically trying to go to Spain. So the Swabi are going to start with the horde and 4 infantries and a Rex. So let's see what we can do with that one. And yes, once again, I'm making a cup. And the Hiberni look exactly like the Swabi. So this is actually a real big problem. they're like the same color. And then the Arabs are also a similar color as the Swabi. So that's not good either. So we have a bunch of Saxons as well. The Hiberni. Yeah, there's a lot of tokens out here. The Swabi I actually already had sorted out, but I didn't have all of them, I guess. So that's a problem too. So now I got to double check. The Saxons are sorted out. Here's the Swabi. Swabi, Hiberni. Hiberni is not in the game yet, I don't think. Okay, so very interesting. These ones are, like I said, there's a problem with multiple nations using similar colors. So, for example, there's this leader called Hermericus, and I don't know if it's with the Swabi or not, but you can just look at the nation card, and Hermericus, of course, is written on the Swabi, so we now know that he is. So let me show you the dilemma here. So these are the Swabi, and this is an Arab. Swabi side by side. These are just slightly lighter green. I think the only thing about the Arabs is it does have this little moon, crescent moon. Also, these I think are raiders, whereas these guys are not. So there's not going to be a lot of these, but it's still misleading. And you know, this particular leader doesn't have the crescent moon, so that's one of the symbols. He's written right on the card, so that's the way you probably could verify it for certain. But I also wanted to show you the Hiberni. That's the Hiberni. Very similar, but again, the little shaded picture is different. So I guess you can go off of that, especially if you're colorblind, which I give him all kinds of credit. That's a really slick little way of dealing with the colorblind issue. But let's get out his special tokens. And there's the raid token. And then of course we got weird stuff like this. I need to find a home for. I don't know where. Oh, there we go. All right, and then this is the Horde token, so let's get that out. And the Rex, let's get that out, because they start with the Horde and the Rex, and then we're going to grab 4 infantry from here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Very first ones I drew. And there's everything else for them. Okay, so where am I keeping the green player? I'm keeping them wherever I have room, but I'm going to move these guys over to the right. Okay, they are age 1 on the barbarian track. There is now a whole lot of nations in game, and they go on the 0 economic track. And these guys, along with their horde marker, are starting in Prussia. Well, that's got to be right next to the other two, because that's where Prussia is. Yep, it is. So they're going to start here. So all 3 of these barbarian nations are basically coming out of the same region. Okay, but we're not done. The Allens now get 2 units in a Rex. So we did the Alemanni, we did the Ostrogoth, the Visigoth, the Franks. The Allens are these guys. So we're going to go ahead and do that. They actually do have a money marker, so let me get that on the board. All right, so they get 2 units. At least half of them must be infantry. So first unit is an infantry, second unit is a cavalry. And as always, they show up where the horde is. They also get a Rex, which I think they already have from the last turn. They do. So we're just gonna put them together like so. Okay, what else do we got? I think that covers everybody. The Raiders, of course, aren't gonna get extra units or anything crazy like that. Yeah, I think we covered all the barbarians. That is an insane amount of barbarians right now. But we move forward here. Okay, so now all other nations, they get a Rex and 1 unit, barbarians only. So I'm just gonna go through these real quick. We did Alemanni, we did the Franks, we did the Ostrogoths, and the Visigoths. We did the Allens as well, and then of course the 4 new barbarians. So the only thing that would be left is the Persians and the Romans, which is next. So the Persians get Artaxerxes, however you pronounce that. So this guy is gone. Sapor, and that's normal. He's getting Artaxerxes, however you pronounce that, the second, right? So he's getting this guy, which is not as good. But that's who's coming out next. And where do they go? They can go anywhere in your that you have control. So Persians, done. Next, we have the Romans are getting Gratianus and Valens, and Theodosius if either of those are eliminated. So let's start with the Romans. They get Gratianus, who's decent. He doesn't really get a good bonus to his roll, so I'm going to go ahead and put him. Whoops. I'm going to go ahead and put him here with this stack. And then the other one is Byzantine leader called Valens. The Byzantines really need this one. So I'm going to put him where the Caesar was. Now, the Caesar unit stays. You actually get an unnamed leader and a leader with the Romans and with the Byzantines. It's just that the Byzantines didn't have a named leader last time. So, like, for example, this particular Caesar is another leader that the Romans have. Could put it here in Africa. I could put it here. I honestly don't know where to put it, but I'm going to go ahead and put it here in Taurinorum. Actually, Travaria is under their control, so I'm going to put that there. And my apologies, it was blurry. I put it up here with the city. There's no units there, but I can purchase units. Or at least I think I can. Later. Okay? So that was extremely long for reinforcements phase, but that's how this game is. I don't know a better way to do it. I mean, obviously you could be a little bit more prepared by having all your tokens sorted out. But yes, that was brutally long, an hour into the game. And we are finally done with reinforcements. I know I'm probably gonna need to end this video. Let me just see what's next. I guess the Huns are where do I have them? They are a nomadic tribe. I didn't even realize that, so we're gonna have to remember that. Next up is events, which is never fun, for the Romans at least. But yes, that is next. And I'm gonna go ahead and close my player aid here. Make room for my paperwork. Just trying to get a little more organized. Let's try to do the events before I end this video. So first up is the red player, and as you can see, this is the event deck. It doesn't get reshuffled unless we draw a card that says to reshuffle. And I'm trying to open the rule book, make sure I'm not missing anything here. Yeah, so we're gonna do events, then raids, and then caravans. So caravans is interesting. Also, the barbarians can pillage caravans if they control a province that a caravan is located. So that's an interesting dilemma as well. We haven't dealt with that yet. So red player is first. Pretty sure. Yeah, let me look. Yes, Romans are first. So let's see what they get. Attrition. The target stack suffers attrition upon entering unfriendly territory. This can be during interception as well as normal activation. Make a D10 die roll check for each unit in the stack. If there's an 8 or more, it's eliminated. Holy buckets. That's actually not a bad one for the Romans. So yeah, they're gonna hold on to that. They also have this sedition card, which they might need it this turn. Okay, next up are the Huns, which are getting a public event that's usually never good for the Romans, piracy. Play it once on a randomly selected sea zone. The target sea zone is infested with pirates and will produce no income this turn. Additionally, unless a nation holds the monopoly for that sea zone, each coastal city is looted if it fails a D2 check. Jesus. If the city's nation has fleets in the target sea zone, each coastal city is instead looted if it fails 2 D2 checks. Okay, that's at least a little better. Place a face-down pillage marker on each looted city. Okay, we got to do that now. How do I randomly do sea zones? Your guess is as good as mine. So, how are we going to randomly determine a sea zone? I mean, I could just break them all up into numbers and then roll like a 12-sided, 2 6-sided dice. I'm looking to see if we have a... So we have a random civilized area selection. I don't have a random sea zone table. Okay, so I guess, so what we would do is, I think we would only target the sea zones that actually have the monopoly markers. So for example, this sea zone up here, we wouldn't count. I don't think I would count the Baltic Sea up there, or even the sea zones around Britain, because those are all empty, or to the west of France. Or should I? I mean, there is a coastal city in each of those places. I guess I will. I will count them. I just won't count this, that sea there, which is what? That's the the Black Sea, right? So I just won't count Mare Caspium. So, Jesus. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. There's 19 of them. So I'm just going to roll all 3 of these dice. Actually, this is a 12. That's a 10-sider. 16. That would be 22. There's 19 territories. It's not entirely fair, but I'm only going to count the first 19. If I roll over 19, I won't count it. So here we go. So that's 9 plus 3 is 12. And I'll try to count them the same way I did before. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That zone right there. So it does hurt the Romans. It is actually pretty cool because that is where pirates would be. I'm checking to see if I have a pirate marker. I don't think I do. It would have been nice to have a pirate marker. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put one of these rebellion markers right there. Okay, so what it says is that sea zone doesn't collect income, and then every city, see, this has a port, but it's not in that sea zone. This city does, and then Rome itself is not an anchor. So this is the only city that uses this sea zone. And of course, we have a monopoly there, and we have a ship. So all kinds of things are happening here. So, so it produces no income. That's a done deal. We hold the monopoly. That is true. Each coastal city is looted unless we hold the monopoly. We do hold the monopoly. So nobody gets looted. And then if you have fleets, they would do 2 checks, but that doesn't matter. So all that happens is there's no income. Okay. I guess worse things have happened to Rome. So now we go to the third player, which is the Persians. And they are getting this event. Play during a nation's reinforcement step. That's supposed to be a P. The target nation receives 1 extra leader. He lasts for 1 turn. So this goes to the yellow player. So that's an event. So he can hold that for more than 1 turn. And then the Goths. Breach. Cancel a target fortified city's wall penalty during a siege. That is very helpful. And this is going to the green player, who is the control of the Huns. So it couldn't have come at a better time. So we're going to go ahead and put that along with the barbarian coalition that also is controlled by the green player. So that ends the event step. Next up is raids, and I'll do that on a different video. So thanks for watching. Stay awesome, and in this day and age, stay healthy and safe.